And that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another edition of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful St. Clair Road, New Jersey. Welcome to Thursday, August the 14th in the year of our good Lord 2025. And welcome to Thursday, folks. And I hope you guys have had a great week. It's been an interesting one for me. Since we last got together, I did a show. I did a spot on a show last Friday night. I'll talk a little bit about that on the Mad Dog Radio, Mad Dog Tonight show with a gentleman by the name of Gerald Brown. So I'll talk a little bit about that. We got a lot to talk about today. I hope you guys have had a good week. I had a real stress the last couple of days. I had to do a presentation for a big project at work. Wasn't as big a deal as I probably made it. I was just very nervous. A very important job for the company, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. It went fairly well. I think I don't think I loused it up in any stretch. I don't know if I don't know if I nailed it but I definitely did not cause us to lose the job. We'll find out in a few days, hopefully, that we got it. But in the meantime, I finally kind of relaxed. Once that meeting was over and I was headed out the door and heading home, and I'm looking forward to doing the show and talking about whatever it is we can talk about tonight. In the meantime, I hope you guys have had a good week. There is a lot going on in sports right now. We have a lot of football going on out there. I don't know why my other screen shut off. Let's see if I get that back on again. That's a strange bird right there. I don't like that. Let's see if it comes back on now. This doesn't look like it's going to, so let's take it off the screen, make sure it won't bother me. Anyway, I hope you guys have had a good week. I hope that everything is good in your world, and of course, lots to talk about tonight. We got preseason football. We're gearing up for week 2 of the technically week 3 because of the Hall of Fame game, but week 2 of games, full slate. We'll talk a little about the Jets and Giants from last week. We'll talk about their cup coming in. They're playing this weekend together. Obviously, a meaningless football game, but I'll see if Jeff watched any of the preseason. I did. I watched all of the Giants and a good part of the early part of the Jet game. We'll talk about Howard Stern. We're going to talk a little bit about the Kennedy Center honors and why that's a big deal in the Hard Rocket sports world. Let's see, Jerry Jones and his handling of the Micah Parsons contract squabble. Let's see, big kicks, and I really want to get to this Pete Alonso 254th homer thing, and I think I got to be honest with you. This is an embarrassment. If you're a Met fan, how you're not embarrassed by this? Not that he hit his 254th homer, which is an all-time record for the Mets. But the fanfare is embarrassing. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm going to tell you how many other teams have have a guy on it that has 254 or more homers, and you'll be surprised. So good job by the Post today. It's a contradiction with the Post. They did the whole, how did Pete get here? Like this whole big, how did Pete Alonso actually hit 250 homers for the Mets? Boy, this is great. And then all of a sudden, they did another article where it's like, it's kind of embarrassing that he only hit 250. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Mets, the disaster that is the New York Yankees. I want to talk about Old Timers Day. And I think it's over. I watched the Yankee Old Timer Day. I'm just making a note for myself. So we'll get to a lot of that. We'll see what Jeff's got on his plate. My dad's up. Lots to talk about. We got plenty to do tonight. So let's get the show kicked off and let's get Jeff on. And again, thank you guys for all tuning in. And again, a big thank you to Gerald Brown and everybody over at Mad Dog Tonight Radio. It was actually a pleasure and a lot of fun. 15 minutes talking baseball with you guys last Friday night. It was kind of like getting called up to the big leagues. We're toiling away here in AAA. We're doing our thing. We have fun. We've had some great guests, but we never kind of took to that next level. And that mainstream kind of platform. And there's another one what we do. I'm proud of what Jeff and I have accomplished over the last 14 years. But there is something, 14, I'm sorry, the last 10, 11 years, sorry. But but that is the big time. To me, if I could ever get the show full time onto that would have been the biggest thing for us. But in the meantime, it was nice to be on Gerald's show. Hopefully I'll get to do it again. And who knows, maybe they'll branch into something for the Hard Rock Sports Show down the line. But who knows? In the meantime, let's kick the show off. Let's get it started. Let's bring on my buddy, the one and only Blackest Sabbath, Mr. Jeff Tolwinski.
I'm holding on to one by the tail, Tom.
Oh, Jesus. Another week of holding one on by the tail.
Every Thursday. I don't know. I get stage fright. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Boy, oh, boy. I got to tell you.
If you see me get up and run.
Do you think at some point you could kind of like disguise the bathroom and just do the show from the bowl? Like maybe like kind of.
If I could, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm just saying that way we eliminate the middleman, and we would, I would tell you, I listened to some old Howard Stern this week because I want to talk a little about Howard Stern today, and I'm listening to just hours of shows where they're just talking about guys on the show going to the bathroom and taping themselves pooping. So you know what? You maybe just be you'd be doing it live instead of taping it. You'd just be doing it live on the air.
Anything is possible, but we don't need to go that route, man.
I'm just saying maybe it'll be easier for you instead of having to run off into the distance and hope that you don't lose one along the way. I mean, we've never seen you lose one along the way, but
no, that's never happened. That's never happened. We've never come close to that. But listen.
It's always a first.
Never, you know what I mean?
It's always time for a first. So, Jeff, let's start it off the way we always started off. Jeff, how was your week?
Tom, it started off slow and then picked up a little steam when I realized a couple things along the way. I'm looking forward to this Madden League.
Yes, me too.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that for a lot of different reasons. Second, the Jets-Giants game, even though I'm not really watching it. I'm not watching it. I just don't like to watch preseason football and not know who's playing.
Okay.
But it gives you the sense that it's almost here. It's almost like Santa Claus is coming. Like when all of a sudden you see the neighbors put the tree up or something. You're like, oh, I'm going to be putting my tree up any day. And it gives you that feeling that
sure, football's around the corner.
Football. Yeah, it's coming.
Sure.
And I just want to let everybody know that last Thursday, I was victorious again.
Oh, here we go.
I was victorious, man.
Go ahead, finish. I'll let everybody know that I filed an appeal with EA Sports and Madden because I was robbed of an opportunity to call timeout.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't care about that.
I know you don't care, but the
end result is that I emerged victorious.
I was knocking on the door, and I was robbed of at least one, if not two, series of the game, and had the chance to not only tie but win the game had I been given those opportunities. But
you have your father online?
My father's on the line. Yes.
Okay, pick him up. I'll be right back.
All right, let me get my dad on. Let's see what we got to talk about. What's up, Pop? What's going on?
Am I a substitute for his bathroom?
I guess you're the hall monitor. Chef runs to the bathroom and fill some space. So what's up, Pop?
No, I just want to tell you, I know you're embarrassed, but I heard the interview you had.
Okay.
And I thought you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
I thought you made your show and everybody there very productive.
Thank you.
I thought it was excellent.
Thanks, Pops. I appreciate. It's one of those things that people say all the time. Oh, you should listen back and critique yourself. And I said, you know what? I believe in just going out there and say what I got to say, do it how I going to do it. And in my head, I know what I did right. I know what I did wrong. I was a little disappointed. He started out the interview talking about the Yankee culture, and then he never went into the Yankee culture with me. I was ready to go right into that and how, it starts upstairs and how they're teaching the kids the wrong way and they're letting these guys get away with bad stuff for years. And then he just kind of went to Devin Williams and then went completely off the Yankees. I was just a little disappointed that we didn't go more into the Yankee culture thing, but Gerald does a great job, and I listen to his show occasionally now, and it's a good time. But thank you for the praise. But like I said, I hate listening to myself do this.
It was very good, and I agree with you with the Mets. But you have to understand where they're coming from, or my intake of where they're coming from. They're competing against Judge, and they're also competing against Santos, the right fielder, who's not living up to what he was supposed to. So to take away attention from him and to bring it to something that's good. I agree with you. In 250 home runs.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
nothing to brag about.
Yeah, I mean, again, I got it that the team's having a little bit of a down year right now. They're a little over 500. They're 6 games out of first place. They'll make the playoffs, and they would be still a scary team. And if Soto ever wakes up, they'll be fine. But I got to tell you, when I see them, dumping dumping Gatorade buckets on the guy, and everybody's going crazy. And you look and he's hit 250 homers, which again, listen, it's 254 more homers than I've ever hit in the major leagues. But at the end of the day, you circle the bases. Hey, great job! You do a little thing, and you gotta mention it. But to go off the rails, and if you saw what the Post did, it's embarrassing to me. I'm sorry. There are 32 major league teams. There are like 28 other teams that have players that been part of their organizations that have more home runs than any Met in history. And I'm talking about teams that have only been around for 30 years. And the Mets have been around for 60. So I'll Jeff's back. So let me read this out to you guys real fast.
How you doing, Mr. Florio?
Hello, Jeff. How you doing, buddy?
Better now.
Okay, so everybody's losing their mind. And in fact, in the Post, they do an article here about how Pete got to 254. Like, it's a whole big 2 pages, right? It's all about how Pete got here, right? So let me write. So the Diamondbacks, they've been around since 1995, right? They're around 30 years. That's half of the time the Mets have. They have a player, Luis Gonzalez, has 224 home runs. He hasn't played in 20 years, right? So, I get, he's 30 homers short on a team that hasn't been around for more than 30 years. I'll give you another one. Devil Rays. Evan Longoria hasn't played in a few years for them, right? He's got 261. They only been around 30 years. I mean, the Mets are number 20, or they have them, let's say, at number 20 or 254. But the Rockies have 300. Have Todd Helton has 369. Let me give you some other ones. See, the Blue Jays been around for 50 years, right? So they got a few more years less than that. 300. Carlos Delgado 336. The Miami Marlins, they've been around 30 years, right? Giancarlo Stanton for them has 267. He hasn't played there in 7 years. So to me, the Mets are been around since 1962. This is an embarrassment for the organization. Pat him on the back all you want. It's a nice accomplishment. It's only 250. Aaron Judge has been around a couple more years from that. One extra year. I think Aaron Judge is almost 350 homers.
Yeah, he's in 350.
You're missing the point, though, Tom.
No, what's the point, though, Jeff?
I have nothing to cheer about.
I'm going to tell you what the point is. For the longest time, okay, the Mets couldn't get anybody to play in that organization that hit the ball. That's one thing. Second of all, they're a National League team that had weak lineups in the 70s where Lee Mazzilli was leading the team in home runs with 17, 18 home runs a year. They were awful. They were pathetic. And, I'm not saying that 253 is a big accomplishment because everything you said there is right. You can't argue that fact. But when you're an organization and don't have anything else to celebrate,
thank you.
You have to celebrate something.
Thank you.
I got it, but it's like, again, it's like being the tallest midget in the circus.
The Mets can't turn around and speak for what the New York Post or the Daily News does or what they're choosing to write their stories about. I understand what you're saying, but listen, you're talking about a team that has had nothing. They have not won a World Series since what, 1986?
Yep.
When was the last time they were in a World Series?
2015.
2015. So 10 years since they've been in a World Series. They've think of some of the things. What was that kid that pitcher's name? Oh man, what the fuck? Anthony, or he lost like 27 games in a row. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay. When your best power hitter might have been Dave Kingman for years. You got to have something. You got to give the fans something. And as pathetic as it is, and yeah, you're right. Aaron Judge, 350 home runs. Giancarlo Stanton, when he was with the Marlins, you could probably go all day and name stuff.
No, I got them all. They do it. They did the list for me. I was going to do it, and they did it. They went by every team in the league and how many guys have what the guy who hit the most homers for that team. And I think 28 out of 32 teams, 28 out of 30 teams have more homers, have guys with more homers than the Mets. It's pathetic.
There's certain sports teams that are just never going to rise above anything. And the Mets are one of those teams. The Mets, the Seattle Mariners, the fucking Jets. I mean, God, you could keep going on and on and on and on.
The Islanders.
And you're never going to win anything. What?
The Islanders.
The Islanders did win 4 in a row. They were the last
Yeah, but
team.
what it was, they circled in a parking lot.
It's just some of these teams are pathetic, bro.
Yeah,
They're never ever going to win. The Cubs went over 100 years between World Series.
I get it, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't acknowledge it, but to acknowledge it the way that they are, the way our people are outside of that, to me, it's embarrassing. I think it's like saying, great, we got this great player. He's the tallest midget in the circus.
Yeah, but it's not. Okay. It's not the Mets doing it. It's the daily the publications.
No, the Met. Listen, the Mets are celebrating it, and while I understand celebrating a guy, it's like, I'm trying to think. So let's say that the most wins a Met pitcher ever had was 10, and some guy comes along and wins 11. My God, he just won 11 games. Like, you're like, dude, everybody else wins 20. Why are you celebrating 11? Like, I get the fact that it's a record for the Mets. It's not like he hit his 400th homer and you're celebrating that. You go, okay, it's quite an accomplishment, 400. And listen, there's nothing to sneeze at 250, but you acknowledge it. Hey, he just broke the Met record. Congratulations to Pete Alonso. Keep up the good work. Let's get to 350. And then if you want to compare it to Aaron Judge, you say, all right, how are we going to make it a big deal? Aaron Judge hit to his 350th homer, and it was a blip. So a guy who came up 1 year earlier has 100 more homers. He has the single season record, and it's a blip on the radar. You guys are dumping Gatorade buckets on the freaking guy, and you're ready to give him. He's crowned himself. I want a new contract. It just, to me, you take the record, you wave to the crowd, you wave the hat, and you go back and you play the game. It's 250 homers. This is not, this is not a career. Oh my God, this is the greatest record of all time. That's all I'm saying, Jeff.
Well, no, listen, I hear you. What does he have now? What has he got now?
254.
254. Right now at 254, okay, there he is, Pete Alonso. He's one behind John Olerud, John Mayberry, Kirk Gibson, Larry Parrish, Chase Utley, a few others. Just real quick, he's ahead of Todd Zeile. There's a name, huh? Bobby Mercer, Robin Yount, Ted Simmons. Just some names.
Yeah.
I mean, is he in the big boy territory? Definitely not. But you want to know something? When you're an organization that has nothing.
I got it. So
do they even have a monument park out there?
I don't know what I know they have some retired numbers. Seaver's number's retired. Obviously, David Wright just got his number retired. They just retired a bunch of numbers. Darryl and
so I wish Frank was here. You'd be fucked. That guy would have to die so he could spin in his grave to come back to bitch next week.
100%. I was praying he was around for this one. Oh my God!
When he comes up, you got to bring it up.
I will bring it back up, but Pop. And Jeff says it, and he's 100%. Baseball's the one sport where numbers matter, right? It's really the one where stats and records really do matter. Like we do hold them. And while again, I understand it's a team record, I'm all for acknowledging it, but when you go, hey, well, it's nice he broke a record of futility because we've been around for 70 years and we ain't got a guy in this organization who's got 300 homers.
So we could say Shohei Ohtani has 263, and he's only been in the league, 10 years?
That's my point. I mean, there are guys.
I know what your point is. Don't get me wrong. I hear you. I'm just saying that, when you have nothing to celebrate, you got to celebrate something.
I got it, and I understand that point. I'm just saying is you kind of got to go. It's kind of what is it called? An ignorant.
255 is on, Tom.
Huh? Yeah.
Watch 255 is on.
To me, if he got to 350, and it's to me 300 homers is a great career. It really is. It's it's not 500 yet, but 300 is a nice career. And again, I get if the record was better and he broke it, I'm okay. And he did it. Listen, less time than some of the other guys who got to 250 homers for the Mets, like Darryl, or I think Piazza's got 240 or 230 something.
Just so to tell you, 300 home runs would put you at 164th on the all-time list, and tie you with Chuck Klein, one behind Rogers Hornby. Just David Justice is at 305. I mean, there's a few names here and there. Fred Lynn at 306. Even 300 home runs by today's standards it's not that much, man.
I agree,
but I understand it's a bigger milestone than 255.
Yeah, and again, it's just again acknowledge it, pat him on the back, let him step out, and wave the hat around a little bit. You can throw a video montage up on the next game and show some of his homers and congratulate. But the way that they're carrying this on the radio, on the print, and again, I get that ain't a problem for the Mets, but these are people just I'm trying to get a word, just emphasizing and pushing a narrative of greatness, which is, to me, it's a organizational futility. It's just showing you that the Mets have been a half an organization since 1962. They're not
nothing. They have nothing.
Right. They are the Yankees foil. They're the Yankees' little brother. They will always be the Yankees' little brother for this reason. There's and you can tell me anything you want about them winning World Series this year or next year. They'll be the Yankee for this reason. They don't have a single player who started and finished and had a Hall of Fame career as a New York Met. Hasn't happened. There's guys in the Hall of Fame as Mets. There's guys in there, but they don't have a single guy who started his career and finished his career as a New York Met and were great New York Mets. That's it. It doesn't. So to me, this just was a little bit of an embarrassment. So I was bothered by it. I think you could salute it, but to make a big deal out of it, it's terrible.
Real quick, did I give you? I just had to look it up because you keep bringing up the Yankees. Can we go over with your dad the all-time Yankee home run list real quick?
Go ahead.
All right, I'm not going to give you the numbers. I'm just going to give you the names as they appear on the list. All right, you got Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, Yogi Berra, Aaron Judge at 353 is number 6. Rodriguez, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada, Derek Jeter, Craig Nettles, Don Mattingly, Jason Giambi, Mark Teixeira, Dave Winfield, Robinson Cano, Roger Maris, Bill Dickey, Tino Martinez, Paul O'Neill, Charlie Keller, Tommy Heinrich, Bobby Mercer, John Carlos Stanton, and Tony Lazzari. The reason I wanted to go through the list is because when you look at the list, once they get past number 7, the next one is 287. So, if you take some of those big names away, a lot of teams are going to have numbers comparable to the Mets. Not everybody has a lineup like the Yankees. The Yankees have been fortunate to have some of the greatest power hitters of all time play in that stadium.
I agree, and I'm not comparing them to the Yankees. All I'm saying is,
you can't. There's no way.
Right, there's 28 or 27 other teams that have at least one player who has more than 250 homers in their career as for that team. So for me, it's just saying, if you're a baseball fan or a Met fan and you've been around since 1962, and there's a bunch of teams like the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, the Devil Rays, a bunch of these teams the Mariners, the Blue Jays, all these teams came up after the 1970s. So at least 15 years after the Mets, and they all have a player who has significantly more than 250 homers. I didn't see any of these guys with the records were going off. They were sliding down slides. They were shooting off fireworks, whatever the Mets did for this kid. Again, I'm not diminishing 250 homers. It's a nice achievement, but it shows how futile the Mets are as an organization. Maybe it gets better from here. I don't know. But to me, I would, again, pat him on the butt, let him wave his hat, and move on. To me, making a big deal out of him breaking Darryl Strawberry's record is embarrassing. It really is. It's an embarrassment.
Darryl Strawberry would have had more home runs if he didn't have the issues he did when he played with the Mets.
Well, he had more homers, but he left the Mets. I don't know if they traded him.
I believe they traded him. I don't
traded
remember.
to LA.
Yeah, so he finished
He the Mets longer if they didn't go through all of those issues.
Probably right, but he went to LA and hit homers. He went to the Yankees and homers. So I mean, I bet you Strawberry wound up with 350 homers or better.
I'm gonna look it up.
Is he on that list?
Not on the Yankee list. No.
No, I'm just saying in general. Do you have the baseball list, or you have just?
I'm getting it now.
Okay. Yeah. So again, I'm not comparing the Mets.
He had 335 home runs, 1,000 RBIs on the dot. He played with the Mets for only 7 years, the Dodgers for 2, 1 year with the San Francisco Giants, and then 5 seasons with the New York Yankees.
Yeah, and he was in and out with the Yankees. He got cancer at that point, this, that, and the other thing. But so I'm saying is, he still hit 300 something, and he missed a lot of time between the drugs and cancer. There's a guy who, if he stayed healthy, would have probably hit 400 something homers. But again, my point only is not to knock Pete Alonso, whatever he did for 250. It's a nice achievement. My point is, for everybody, please don't make a big deal out of it. It's 250 homers. Jeff just showed you there's a ton of guys on that list who've hit 250 homers in their career. And a lot of teams, and most teams, have a guy who's played for them who've hit a lot more than 250. And the fact that Mets don't have a guy who's well over 250 after close to 70 years in the league is kind of, embarrassing if you're a Met fan. So I wouldn't make that big a deal out of it. So that's all I was trying to get out with this.
No, I listen. I hear you, but listen. There's a lot of reasons for that. They were a bad team for a long, long time. They couldn't get top quality players for a long time. What's up, man?
What's up, buddy? Lou, we're ripping Pete Alonso and his big 250 homers.
Bad management, not bad management, but like bad ownership.
Yeah,
prevented a lot of better players from going over there. Bad way of spending money when they lost all that money with Bernie Madoff and stuff. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. They were bad for a long, long time. You know that, man.
No, I got it. But I think that's the point I'm trying to make is, please don't put the Mets as they're taking over. The Mets, taking over New York. They'll never take over. The Mets have been futile. When you're celebrating a guy as the record holder for home runs, and home runs is in baseball is probably the biggest monument, right? Like if you want to say the home run king would probably be at the top of the list of achievements. Maybe, the 300 win guys or strikeout guys are right below that. But who hits the most homers, who has the most homers is probably the biggest record in baseball. And again, for the Mets
when
to have
Mazzilli was playing on the Mets.
Yeah.
When Lee Mazzilli was playing on the Mets, 78, 79, 80, 81, he was 16, 15, 16. He had some injuries and stuff, and this was the guy leading the Mets. We only finished with 93 career home runs.
Yeah.
Is that right? 93, yeah. And he was one of the power hitters on the Mets at the time.
Yeah. So again, this is not to pick on Pete Alonso. I'm not a big fan. I also don't think the Mets should be stupid enough to try. He just came up and said he wanted to play till he was 40. And if I'm the Mets, I offer him a nice little deal. Take it, don't take it. He's obviously a one-dimensional player who kind of disappears here and there. But anyway, it's a nice accomplishment. Congratulations to 254. Great to have the record. But please stop making a big deal out of it. It's an embarrassing record. It really, to me, it's an embarrassing record to have. You're the king of the castle in the Mets, and you are probably 900th in the history of baseball as far as team leading home run hitters. So please, to me, it's embarrassing, and the Met fans, and everybody else should stop making a big deal out of him owning the Met record. It's not that big a deal. That's all I'm trying to say. So let's move on. We got plenty of other things to talk about. Pop, you have anything else you want to bring up?
No,
Pop,
I'm good, man.
good?
No, I'm good.
All right.
I'll let you guys go get into your football.
Thanks, Pops.
And I enjoyed Tommy. I'll see you over the weekend.
You got it, Pops.
Take care, buddy. Talk
Be
to
good.
you later.
All right, that's my dad checks it every week. So I want to just say again one more time. I want a big thank you to Gerald Brown and everybody over at Mad Dog Radio tonight for having me on last Friday night. It was a blast, and I look forward to doing it again. And it was really nice to get the show mentioned a few times on the air. It would have been nice to tell you where to look for it, but in the meantime, it was a nice job, and I just really want to make sure I got that out to say thank you to Gerald and everybody over there. And his brother, who's his producer. Thank you for getting me on. Anyway,
I know we got a couple things to go on, but before we get too far away, and we forget to mention it, I got something I got to bring up.
Go ahead.
That's kind of important.
Yeah.
After the last couple of years in the heavy music world, with Slayer retiring, and then Ozzy and Black Sabbath playing their last show, and then Ozzy dying, and then today it was announced that Megadeth is recording their last album and going out on their last tour starting next year.
I saw you post that today.
Yeah, that to me is pretty unbelievable.
Why? I mean, I'm not the biggest Megadeth fan. I own one album. I don't like Mustaine, never have. I understand his place in music history, obviously, to start, being there to start of Metallica, but that band seemed to have a ton of turnover in members.
Look it up on Wikipedia. The amount of people that were in that band is Spinal Tap-ish. I cannot believe.
Yeah. So, it almost seems like they were the Mets of heavy metal. He wanted to be Metallica. They could never get to that level. They were never in the big. Well, they were never in the big four, right?
They are.
They are in the big four?
Yeah, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax.
Okay. They just always seem to like to be a little cousin of Metallica.
They was for the longest time, and then him and Metallica kind of buried the hatchet on that a little bit, when they went out on the Big Four tour. But I hear you. In some regards, like you could see the I don't want to say the jealousness, but
that's what it seems like. Yes,
I just didn't. I was never a huge fan. His voice is annoying.
Yes.
I don't like. There's something about a band to me that, look at Sabbath. From what you know, you wouldn't be able to tell me half the people that were in Sabbath, because you probably didn't know there was about 40 people that were in Sabbath throughout the years.
Okay.
Once Ozzy left and Ronnie James Dio left, then it was just a revolving door.
Well, you had a ton of different singers, right? There was at least
singers, drummers, just a whole bunch of different people.
Yeah.
Well, like a band like Led Zeppelin, same 4 members the whole time. One died. So what happened? They shut down shop. Yeah. A lot of these other bands, there may be, they got like Metallica. They went through a couple bass players. Yeah. But it's been the same on record.
Yeah.
The same 4 guys for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And when you see some of these bands like this, to me, the best way to describe it is Spinal Tap-ish.
Yeah.
When you have 13 different fucking guitar players in there, that's a lot of people.
How many different bass players have been in that band? It's got to be a dozen bass players, no?
I don't know, because I looked it up real quick, and the way that they did the chart on Wikipedia, it'd probably be easier to look up online, on the computer than on a tablet. But there was a lot. There was a bunch, man.
Yeah, so to me, so when you say it's a big deal, is it just the fact it's not their place in history? It's just another band we'll call it from our youth that's kind of going away, that we're losing it. But in the grand scheme of music, do you hold them in a high place? Me
personally, no. Their from one album, Rust in Peace, to me was actually it was a great album.
I have that album. That's the one album I own. Holy
Wars, and
it's a good album.
A great album without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
to me, Megadeth reminds me of the person that you haven't seen for a while, and that that they got sick, but you don't know what they got. But every time you see them, they look a little skinnier and they look a little worse for wear. And like you don't want to ask them like, is everything all right? Have you gone to the doctor? Or if you have gone to the doctor, how long has he said you got left? Like he's not losing weight because he's on a diet and going to the gym. They're losing weight because they're losing steam to me, And there wasn't much, man, I don't have much. I have a song here and there. I really only have the one album on my phone, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I own the vinyl of that. That's about all I got. I'm not a fan of his. And again, a lot of times, Jeff, you buy into the members of a band, it's the music, but then you buy into the band. And think about how many of those bands that you grew up loving had a ton of guys. Now, I know you say Sabbath had about a lot of people, this and that and the other thing, but the core group of that is in the heyday. If you think about it, once Ozzy left, Sabbath became a lot of different things, but they had so many great years of Sabbath that it kind of holds its place. But bands like Whitesnake and Deep Purple, these bands that have had like 30 and 40 members, Foreigner. I mean, after a while, like you just don't think of them the same way because you don't buy into the thing. It's not like a baseball team or a football team or a hockey team where you buy into the sweater. The band you're buying it to the players, the people who are in it.
Of course, because you know what? Different people mean a lot of different things, different attitudes, different songwriting styles. Are they going to gel? Are they going to mesh well together? Is this a lineup that could work? This song sucked, so I'm not going to bother listening to anything else that they write for a while, and then you may actually be missing out on some good music. You don't know because you're like, that last album sucked. I'm not going to listen to it anymore.
Well, let me ask you a question. Like, do you think that the mistake the bands make is when you start changing members, you kind of start bringing in different ideas and different sounds? So
that's what I meant by songwriting and stuff, and whether they could mesh well and work well together. But no, sometimes they can't. Listen, a Hard Rock and Sports Band, I'm not going to mention names on air. We went in with a certain lineup. And things had to be changed a couple times until we ended up becoming a tighter, more cohesive unit. And then even as we went on, there was a change here and there for a show. A certain somebody was asked back and then left. And then we were like, good, fine, bye.
Yeah.
And everything went well. There was no problem. Sometimes you got to cut a piece out to make it work, to get it tighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that band, I think that was definitely a band that showed that, how many drummers we went through, how many singers we went through.
Yeah.
And the end product still wasn't as good as it should have been, but it was way better than when it started.
Correct. Absolutely. And I like it. I liken it back to back to Sabbath with, when Ozzy left and Dio came in, the whole sound of Sabbath changed so much. Beside the whole, politics and legal end of it, it was hard to call it Sabbath, and it was more heaven and hell because the sound was completely different.
Yeah, but you know what? It didn't become heaven and hell until the early 2000s.
I got it.
When there was a lawsuit against one another,
right.
And Lonnie James Dio was still singing Black Sabbath songs with Black Sabbath as they were playing on.
I agree.
Sabbath. Once they split. And Ozzy never, to the best of my knowledge, Ozzy never sang any Dio stuff. He didn't have to. But once the band split and they become Ozzy and Dio, like Sabbath and Heaven and Hell, I don't think Dio ever did any more Sabbath songs. They had enough of their own material to go out there and do whatever they wanted to do, which was 2 or 3 albums worth, which is about what they needed.
Yeah, you can get away with a lot of stuff at that point. But yeah, I understand your point of the post, and it's almost like one of those things where you go, I didn't really like that player, but I'm sad to see him go, right? Like a lot of people say that about like A-Rod or some Manny Ramirez, but when you don't get to see him play anymore, it's like, wow, I remember watching that guy when I was 18, and that's kind of like Megadeth for me was, I didn't really care for them back in the day when Metallica was hitting it big, and then Megadeth kind of jumped in there. You're like, it's not my thing. But now you're going, I can't believe Megadeth's not here anymore.
Well, it's to me, I'm looking at the bigger picture. I couldn't care less if Megadeth stopped playing tomorrow, and they didn't put out the album and everything else. Okay, we lost Slayer, all right, but they're back. But it's just, here and there for right now. I don't think that it's going to be a long-term thing. Sabbath is done and over with. Okay, there's no version of Sabbath that could really go out right now.
No.
And especially those guys all getting older, so who knows if they'd even want to do anything.
You couldn't do it now without Ozzy. I could see doing an album. I mean, if you had some unfinished stuff that you could kind of throw Geezer and Tony and Bill and and finish it. But to go out and do a show or two now without Ozzy, to me, that was the crescendo. Like, to me, that was the
you couldn't do anything without Ozzy, but what you could do is just there's plenty of other Sabbath stuff, like Tony Martin sang on a bunch of stuff.
Sure.
And a lot of people like that stuff. I cannot listen to it, man.
Would you call it Sabbath and go out there and do a show with it, though? And wouldn't it be anticlimactic after what they went through and how they finished? Like, to even think about that?
Listen, like I said, I wouldn't be able to listen to it, but there's plenty of people that would love it. And not for nothing, if Geezer and Tony and Bill Ward wanted to go out and play, why shouldn't they play? I mean, if they're going to play stuff of a certain era, why shouldn't they play? But I'd be honest with you, I don't think that any of them are particularly built for the road at this point in time.
No.
Geezer Butler probably looked the best out of all of them.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure Tony could do 4 or 5 shows, they play one here, one there. Bill Ward, to me, I would be shocked if he could play any more shows after that.
That was, I think, a stretch. I think that's why they only did the 4 songs.
Yeah.
Ozzy was strapped in a chair and he only did 4 songs.
Yeah.
Bill Ward looked like he was fucking.
Yeah, I mean, he was about to come out of his skin. He was tearing his clothes off. He was just completely. So I think that if at the end of the day, Sabbath should never do anything else. Again, if they wanted to get together,
they probably won't.
If they wanted to go in and record an album, or maybe they have some unfinished stuff with Ozzy's voice on it, and you want to go in there and finish that and pop that out, I think that'd be cute. I'm looking forward to I think they're coming out with a movie version of the final show. I don't know if that's going to be like a Netflix thing or if they're putting it in the theaters, but I would like to see that because it would be a lot less of the other bands that. A lot of it, they should put nothing in there from Guns N' Roses, but we've had that conversation already. In the meantime, I think I think Megadeth holds a place. Where does Megadeth fall, though, Jeff? Let's say historically, 30 years from now, we're sitting there, we're in rocking chairs, and we're talking about bands. Where does Megadeth fall? Are they influential? Is there a place in history where you go, you know what the top 10 bands of the metal bands are? Does Megadeth fall in a list like that? Are they
not for me? Not for me. And being that they were kind of always up against Metallica because Dave Mustaine came from Metallica, so I think their natural partner, versus is going to be Metallica.
Right.
I don't see them ever topping Metallica. I know a couple people that would definitely argue that point with me, but for me, maybe a top 20 to 25 band, influential in their own way, but I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan. So to me, I couldn't put together a 20 song set list, like just to have a playlist of 20 songs from.
Well, though, Jeff, I'm not a fan of Zeppelin, right? I don't listen to Zeppelin. If it comes on the radio, I turn it off right as fast as I can get it off. But I could sit here and tell you that I consider them an influential band. I consider them a top 5 hard rock and metal band. Like, I can, even though I'm not a fan of their music, I can put that in there. I can't put Megadeth in perspective because I just don't think they did anything different or better or something that stood out other than probably Dave Mustaine's jealousy and hatred of Metallica. That's the only thing that's ever popped to me is instead of going out there and saying, hey, I had fun there. They gave me a launch in my career and I took off and I did this. Here's my great stuff. It all just came across that he was jealous and envious and hateful of a band that their first few albums are as good as anybody's ever.
Well, a lot of those songs, believe it or not, are songs that Mustaine wrote.
Absolutely. And that's what should be celebrated.
He has a lot of writing credits for those songs. I don't know them all off the top of my head. You could check it out when you get a chance Google it and you'll get the answers. But he wrote about, I'd say, good 6 to 10 songs for them.
Okay.
But I kind of agree with you. Like I just can't warm up to him. I didn't like his voice. I didn't like the way. To me, their stuff just, I don't know, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it. I never really liked some of their stuff. I tried in the very beginning. I tried, but they're not for me, man. They're not. Don't get me wrong. They have some songs that are really good, like great songs. But I'm not going to go through them now. But like they had a song that was on the Decline of Western Civilization, that movie, Part 3.
Okay. Yep.
I forget the name of the song that was on there. It's an incredible song. Hard to play. They're great musicians. They don't do anything for me, man.
All right. So here's some of the songs that Dave Mustaine has been Jump in the Fire from Kill 'Em All, The Four Horsemen from Kill 'Em All, originally titled Mechanics with an X at the end, Ride the Lightning from Ride the Lightning, supposedly. Contributions didn't stop after that. The Call of Cthulhu from Ride the Lightning. Are some of the songs that he's either credited with or takes credit for. I believe there's a few more, but that's just a quick, and those are some very big songs. I mean, let's not call it anything less. Those are big tunes right there.
I got like, Skin of My Teeth is a good song from Megadeth. The Killing of My Business, Killing is My Business, Mechanics, Last Rites, Love You to Death is pretty good. Killing is My Business and Business is good. Peace Sells, But Who's Buying is an all right song. Then in 1990, Rust in Peace, Holy Wars, Hangar 18, Rust in Peace, Tornado of Souls, good stuff. And the album from 1988, So Far, So Good, So What, was a good album, a real good album, solid album. But other than that, there's really nothing that I could say like, no, they're good, they're great. If you listen to this, you'll like them. And I can't say that. And I don't even know if you would like the ones that I told you, because to me, it's an acquired taste. I just don't like them.
Now, I'll say this. Think about it this way. If Dave Mustaine wrote a lot of that stuff that we like up to and maybe right past a little bit of stuff that he wrote on Ride the Lightning, think about it. Not too far after Ride the Lightning, Metallica takes a real big dip in the quality of their music, right? We would agree. One, they didn't write a lot of stuff. Two, a lot of stuff that they wrote wasn't very good, in my opinion. I didn't like a lot of that stuff after. So there could be a case to be made that Dave Mustaine was a backbone to their.
Definitely not. Definitely not, because even when Metallica was putting out some substandard stuff, it was still blowing the shit out of fucking blowing.
I agree with you, but
Megadeth.
We would have to agree, I think, that the early Metallica stuff is the backbone of their archive and the basis of their greatness, right? I mean, Kill 'Em All, Master of Puppets, all that stuff is fantastic. And if he had the hand in writing some of that stuff, and after that, with the Black Album was good. It was, there's some really good stuff on there. But after that, it kind of takes a wild turn. There could be a case to be made that, their best writing material came when he was part of the band.
Nah, you know why? No? Because the Black Album came out in 1991. Yeah. They didn't put anything else out again until 1996.
Right.
They had already gone on tour on one album for about 3 years. And when you think about, they did Kill 'Em All. Yeah, Mustaine wrote a couple things, but did he write the whole song? He couldn't have, because
I don't know.
It's been him that got credit for it. He might have wrote parts to it.
Right.
But he didn't write the whole song.
Right. Now, again, I'm just saying is their best stuff was written when he was part of whatever part of it was.
What songs did he write? Go. What is that list of songs again?
Hold on. I got to bring it back up. Hold on 1 second. What did I wrote these? Okay. I'm going to give you let's see. Why is it?
I know you said the Four Horsemen, because think of it this way too. with all of the stuff that he's, supposedly wrote, the only song he recorded under the Megadeth flag was Mechanics or the Four Horsemen. So everything else that he did, he never really even used.
Well, so here's what he says. He continued listing many Metallica songs that were allegedly based on his riffs. Ride the Lightning, I wrote. The Call of Cthulhu, I wrote. Let's see what else. There's Phantom Lord, Metal Militia, Jump in the Fire, The Four Horsemen, and I wrote a bunch of Leper Messiah, Metallica's third album, and Master of Puppets 2. They didn't give me credit on that. You listen to the riffs, they're my riffs. So I'm telling you what he says.
Why would they have given him credit on the stuff for not Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning in the first album, but not give him credit?
Don't know the answer.
From the stuff he wrote on Master of Puppets, and Leper Messiah.
Yeah, I mean
that makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean Dave Mustaine, Rip's ex-bandmate, he wrote Jump in the Fire, The Four Horsemen, Ride the Light. I mean, those are 3 big songs right there. If he's any part of those riffs and this and that, The Call of Cthulhu are the 4 songs that are part of this article. But again, I don't know. I love the early Metallica. Still listen to it. I don't like Megadeth, but there was a sharp decline at some point in the writing of Metallica songs. Why that is, I don't know the answer.
They were still touring the world and playing stadiums.
Agreed.
So, and matter of fact, up until this day, they're still touring the world.
No. They were a huge band without him. I mean, there's no doubt. I'm not a fan of Lars. I'm not a huge fan of the band. I respect the early. I love the early stuff. But yes, there's no doubt that they got to where they are without Dave Mustaine. All I'm saying, from a quality of writing and a quality of songs, I think we both would agree, after a certain point, and a lot of bands are that way. Maidens, we talked about the Maiden stuff.
The reason I stopped listening to Metallica or supporting them or having this argument with other people, to be honest with you, was when they went 9 years between albums. Yeah. And that's when they lost me. And I liked Load. I liked Reload. I thought that those had some good songs on them. I liked the album Saint Anger. I think Saint Anger has some real good songs on it, but definitely overlooked songs that you'll never hear again. Death Magnetic is a great album, but then they went almost 10 years between Death Magnetic and Hardwired. And as you're a fan, I'm a fan, we're a fan of music, it's not right to the fans for you to continue to tour and push shit that's almost 10 years old. I come up with something. I mean, they did write, what is it? Lords of Summer. That was a EP that they had that came out in 2014. Hardwired came out in 2016. I can't, and then after Hardwired in 2016, they went all the way to 2023, another 7 years between albums. That ain't cool to the hardcore, diehard fans, man.
Yeah.
Your Maiden is your favorite band, no?
Maiden's my favorite. Yes, I would. If you asked me, and put a gun
I understand that Maiden. When you're close together for close to 50 years, you might run out of ideas. They might not come as quick. You're not in the same mindset. Just like I know that we weren't in the same mindset as we were 10, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I just think that Maiden, maybe they outgrew one another or something a little bit. I don't know. But Metallica, you can't go 10 years. Maiden never went 10 years without putting out an album.
Every 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Good or bad. And again, they all haven't been great. Believe me. After a certain point, we've had this conversation.
But I'm sure that on every one of those albums, if you said to me, they put out 10 albums between this album and this album, but I could let you hear 15 great songs.
Yes. I can pull just about every Maiden album except for the last one, maybe Dance of Death. And I could give you one great song on the album. The rest of the album may be very mediocre at best, but there's always one song that stands out where you go, that's a great song.
A lot of Steve Harris's bass lines are all EDC. Everything is and that gallop.
It's all galloping, sure.
You can only write so much off of that, and he was the main songwriter.
Absolutely.
You can only build so much off of that. And his riffs are incredible. Don't get me wrong. And Steve Harris is not getting up early tomorrow and going to work, but we will be.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So to me, Steve Harris and Maiden are incredible musicians and everything else. And besides, how do you top some of the albums that they wrote early in their career?
No.
How do you top the first 2 albums? How do you top Number of the Beast? And the first 5 albums, Iron Maiden, Killers, Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind, Power Slave. Come on, man. I can't think of stronger 5.
No, and I think after a while, listen, when you're doing something for 10 years, I think it's easy to come up with 5 great albums. When you're doing something for 50 years, it's tough to come up with, 25 great albums. It just, there isn't that many ideas.
After 50 years, that's one good album every 5 years, one great album every 5 years. That should be the least, and they didn't do that. Yeah,
so I agree. I don't think there's a band or an artist out there that I can think off the top of my head, and I like to maybe make a little bit of a challenge for us for next week. But to kind of, is there a guy out there who had 40 years ago had a great album, and then 40 years later had another great album? It just doesn't happen. You spend that much time. I mean, I look at Kiss, their first few albums were fantastic. And then all of a sudden it was I think they ran out of ideas and it's getting kind of bad. And I think you could say that about a lot of bands. And
Tom, keep going. I just got to do something. My dog is doing something on the bed.
Sure, go ahead. So, I mean, again, Hard Rocket Sports, that's Jeff and I'm Tom, and thank you all for tuning in tonight. I know that we're winding down the summer. It's starting to get a little darker, a little earlier. It's starting to get less like summer, although it's been really hot the last few days. But thank you guys all for tuning in and sticking by us for this week. We'll be back the next few weeks, and pretty soon we'll be doing a lot more football. We're going to turn to football in a minute. But if you guys have any ideas out there, anybody that you can think of that writes their own material. Now, I'm not talking about artists like Elvis who never wrote a song in their life. I'm talking about an artist. I don't care what genre of music, who after 40 years is writing just as good as stuff himself as they did 40 years ago. I can't think of anybody who's doing it.
They all slow down because when they come out, that when a lot of these bands come out, look at the Rolling Stones. They've been around for 4,000 years.
Yeah.
Okay. They buried King Tut. They're around so long. Okay. When you think of them and things that they're doing, okay, they're not the same band and it's not the same music that they were writing almost 70 years ago. So now here they are, they come out and it's just they put out an album. Nobody even notices.
Yeah.
Did you know The Who is also getting ready to retire now?
I'm surprised that they weren't. I thought they retired and came back, but I guess they're still.
They're on their way. Matter of fact, I was talking to somebody about it the other day. I know that they were coming to play the Garden, and they're playing Newark next week, and they're playing the Garden very shortly. By the end of August, they're playing the Garden. Okay. Roger Daltrey said he's hoping that he's alive at the end of the tour.
That's a rough one. Wow. That's a rough one.
It is, but when you're 80, 81, 82 years old, you could say that. It'd be like, I had breakfast. I don't want to have lunch too late. I will get hungry, but I just hope that I will be alive, I
mean, I give those guys credit. I mean, I'm not a fan of the Stones. I barely like a lot of the Who stuff. But to think about those guys at 80 are bouncing up. I mean, I get home from work at 5 o'clock. I don't want to do nothing. I mean, I can't
work all day. Your job isn't to sit in air-conditioned room all day, and they're like, Tom, you want anything for lunch? You want anything to drink?
I get it, but I just give them credit for getting up on stage for 2 hours or an hour and a half, or whatever they're doing, and still popping. I don't know how good it sounds. I've not heard a Who concert or song in a long time. You used to hear a lot of stuff, on the radio or YouTube, but I give them credit for getting out there and doing it. So God bless them.
I say right now it's just Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend.
Yeah, it's all.
John Entwistle is gone. Keith Moon's gone. Going on 50 years, he's gone. And this is as a person who's a fan of music, you have to look at it this way. This is a treasure.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
on its way out.
No, 100%. Bands like them, the Stones, the guys who were left in Queen. whatever you got of them, if you get a chance to see it, go see it. I mean, I wouldn't go see Queen because I if they put Paul Rogers back, I might have. I'm not a big Adam Lambert fan. I'm sure he's got a nice voice and all that, and it works a little bit. I always wish that George Michael would have sung for them, but he was too busy knocking on bathroom doors. But that
was rough, man.
Yeah, sorry, but yeah, but again, yeah, I mean, these are bands that listen. I was just going to get to Howard Stern a little bit, and it's the same thing. Like I grew up listening to Howard Stern since I was in high school, and when I got out of high school and I was working full time, I would carry a radio, and at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, after listening to Imus and Soupy Sales, Howard would come on, and through his whole career, I listened and went crazy, and now they're talking about he's going to be done. He's 71 years old. And I'm not sad that he's done because I think he stopped being Howard, 2009, 2010. But it's sad that the guy won't be here anymore. He's 71. And at some point, now he may continue. There's rumors he might screw it and keep going. And it's all negotiation. But at some point, there won't be any Howard Stern. There won't be a Who. There won't be a Rolling Stone. So treasure what you can when you can, if you value it. I think that's the best lesson to learn is, when you have an opportunity to go see the Who, if you're a Who fan, I've never seen them. I'm not a fan. I think you're more of a Who fan than I would be.
I enjoy some of their stuff, but like once again, this is a band that Who is the Who? It's the four of them, and it ain't the four of them. And I remember what I was doing when they announced John Entwistle died. I was putting together a barbecue stove in my backyard.
Oh, wow.
And it was a Friday night. And all of a sudden, I'm in the middle of putting the barbecue stove together. And they announced John Entwistle was found dead after an overdose of cocaine in a hotel room, banging a hooker. It's like,
I mean, it's a rock and roll way to go out.
Without a doubt. Like, God only knows the last few hours that John.
He had to be in his 70s. I mean, at some point.
No, he wasn't even 60 when he died, bro.
Come on.
Yeah, look it up. He was like 57, 58 years old when he died.
Jesus Christ.
You got to remember, now they're in their fucking 80s.
Is he dead that long ago, John Entwistle?
He died in 2002, 2003.
Wow. I didn't think it was that long ago. Holy cow. 22 years ago. Shit.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that long ago.
When he died. John Entwistle. He died in June 27, 2002.
Wow.
He was 57 years old when he died. He was just a couple months shy of his 58th birthday.
That's amazing. I swear to God, I never thought it was that long ago. I don't know why. Maybe I just wasn't paying that much of attention to it. But yeah, I mean, listen, that's the rock and roll way to go. You're snorting coke and hanging with hookers in a hotel room. I mean, I guess that's the way you go if you're rock and roll.
Entwistle died in the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Paradise, Nevada on June 27, 2002, one day before the scheduled first show of the Who's 2002 United States tour. He was 57 years old. He had gone to bed that night with Allison Rose, a local stripper and groupie, who awoke the next morning to find Entwistle cold and unresponsive. The Clark County medical examiner determined that his death was due to a heart attack induced by an undetermined amount of cocaine. That must mean that it's a lot.
Yeah. He didn't snort a line. That's
no. He already had severe heart disease and usually smoked a pack of cigarettes a day.
Jesus, so talk about a guy who's really itching to go.
High blood pressure, high cholesterol. 3 of his major arteries were blocked. Damn. Wow.
And on top of that, he's shoving cocaine up his nose. Wow.
He just didn't give a fuck, man.
That's a guy who, and then Ozzy lived to 76. He just figured it out.
Ozzy was doing the same shit that he was doing. I guess, listen, when your time comes, man.
That's it, my man. But treasure these guys. And again, for me, if John Entwistle was there, I still wouldn't go. I was happy to see Sabbath. I think that's one of those bands that you kind of had to put on your belt and say you saw. There's a few. I want to see Paul McCartney before he goes. I've said it a million times. It's so expensive to see him, but when he comes back around, whatever next time I will go. I saw Elton John. I've gotten to see some big artists I'm not a big concert goer, but I've seen enough. But there's a few bands that I want to. AC/DC is probably the one band that I never got to see so far. Rush is another one that I wish I would have seen more in their heyday than obviously I don't want to see AC/DC now. It's one guy left. At this
You
point.
didn't see Rush?
I never saw Rush.
Just put on an album.
Yeah.
Just put on an album. If it was 3 minutes and 19 seconds, they played live 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Whatever you heard on the album is what you heard live. I saw them once live. Incredible band that could actually go out and play their songs without rushing them and everything else. But because they were just Rush, completely different story.
Yeah, no, agreed. Like I said, just to, I almost hoped, and it wouldn't be the same, but I almost hoped that the two last guys, Lifeson and Geddy Lee, would go back out one more time as Rush, even though it can't be Rush without Peart. I would like to see those guys playing. I would love to see Geddy Lee sing, Limelight and some of those big tunes one more time. But it wouldn't be Rush. Couldn't be Rush.
How long ago did Neil Peart die? 2015.
Something like that. Yeah. We were doing the show.
Has it happened already, or
no, you're right.
I don't see it happening at this
point.
No,
I agree. There's been a lot of rumors to it. They've talked about going out and playing together again. But they got to be in their 70s too. I mean, how much longer could you wait at this point?
They're in their early 70s.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see those guys play live. I'd almost rather them start a new band and play Rush stuff. You know what I mean? Or that type of thing. But the Rush and AC/DC in their prime, I would have loved to have seen both of those bands. I never got to see. So
I never saw AC/DC either. So
yeah.
I never wanted to go see them live, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like so much of their early stuff that I would have loved to have seen them back in the 80s, when they were doing, the Back in Black album and still playing a lot of the old stuff. I would have loved to have seen that. But,
What was the name of that you bring up, AC/DC? The name of the band that Bon Scott was in, they sang the song Buttercup. Why don't you fill me up, Buttercup?
Oh my God, I have no idea. I know the song, obviously.
Bon Scott was the backup singer in that
song.
Oh,
was he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that band.
Oh boy.
But I know the song was Buttercup.
Sure. Why don't you fill me up? Buttercup, baby, won't you let me down, well, let's get off this topic. Again, I want to just talk on the Howard Stern stuff real quick, which I kind of got it in there.
The foundations, I think they were.
Okay.
Build me up, Buttercup, the foundation.
Again, if you guys are Howard Stern fans, let's see what happens. I will tell you that if this is the end for Howard and he is going out December 31st, I will listen to the last show. I was a huge fan. I know Jeff, not a big fan. I listened. I can't tell you how many days I took off of work or snuck out to a car during work to catch a piece of the show. I listen constantly now, but I only listen to old stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't the Foundations, the Valentines.
The
Valentines.
Valentines. Somebody else was in that band, I think. Another famous person, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway. So,
I didn't start really. I never got into Howard Stern because my first car had an AM radio. And when I was stuck going to work, Howard Stern would be on because I had to listen to him because that was the only station that played music. And when I got out of work, he was still on, still rambling on. And I'm like, whenever I'm in the fucking car, this guy is on talking. And then thank God the car ended up blowing up or something. And I ended up having to get another car that came with at least an FM radio at that point in time.
Yeah.
But I was so happy to get away from him. And then I never really liked him. But when his show was on the E channel,
yep,
I used to watch the show. And I would stay up till 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, every night, watching the E channel with him.
Yep.
And sometimes it was good. Sometimes it sucked.
Yeah.
When he had like Beetlejuice on or one of the retards, the show was okay.
Yeah.
But it got really stupid when he had like certain porn stars on. They just
after a while, like that stuff got old quick. It got boring after a while. And
yeah, I agree.
And you know what? You know what it was, Jeff? When we were kids, again, I'm talking like 80s and 90s, you're listening and he's telling you that this chick's in there and she's hot and he's doing this and she's going to do that and we're going to throw baloney on her ass and we're going to do all these things. Your mind is going, oh, she must this. And then what the E channel did and what even the Channel 9 show did, it put these people on screen and you went, oh my God, that is hideous. Frank Catalano popped up. You missed my rant on Pete Alonso, but we won't go back at that. But yeah,
let me ask you just straight up, yes or no. You never got to throw baloney on a chick's ass.
Never.
Neither have I.
Yeah, no, it's never happened.
So as they might have been, he did it.
No, and I agree. The problem was once it went to TV, it took the illusion. I
guess that means, oh no, you never did it either, Frank.
No, I would think it's I think it was because I was ripping Alonso for the 250. But I just think obviously now he's really woke and he became everything that he railed against. He's become all those things that he said we shouldn't be. He is now, and he has been for a long time. And it just stopped being funny. When Artie left in 2009, it was the show completely changed again, and not for the better. So
is Baba Booey still there?
Yeah. The main four, Howard, Fred, Robin, and Gary are still there.
How old is Gary? God only knows what he must look like by now.
Gary has got to be in his early 60s, mid 60s.
Got to be later than that, older than that.
Howard's 71. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I would think Baba Booey's probably 63, 64. He's definitely 6 or 7 years younger than Howard.
Fred Norris, Robin Quivers, Gary Delabate, 64. Yeah. I didn't know he was that close to us in age.
Yeah. Gary's
Norris is 70.
Yeah. Robin, I think, is actually older than Howard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she's like 73.
Yeah. So, and then
Howard is 71, I believe.
Yep. So, again, it's definitely, and you're right. When Artie left, it was over. There was nothing left to the show. And again, his interviews are all the same. People talk, he's the greatest interviewer in the whole world. It's all the same. I got tired of it. And now
there's only so many questions you can ask.
Right. And again, there's nothing in depth. Listen, if you ever want to get bored, go listen to him interview Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. And if you're a real interviewer, you would ask legitimate questions. If somebody's coming into you and they're running for president of the United States, you have an obligation to ask a few tough questions. The border's wide open. You ask, hey, why do you have this policy? Why if you're not, then you're not a great interviewer. You're just a suck ass. And to me, I have no interest in that. And I thought the old Howard would have asked a couple of tough questions.
I hear your point. I see what you're saying and everything. But then again, you know what? Most political interviews I won't listen to either.
No, I get it. But the point of it is, if you're a great interviewer, you have to ask a couple of tough questions. If there's a tough question to be asked, you got to ask it. You have to.
You can't be one-sided. You have to go on both sides of the aisle.
Right. It's not even the politics end of it. Like, you can't interview a guy who's being accused of being mentally impaired as the president and not ask him about it. You can't ask a woman who basically can't give you an answer on what position she holds on certain big topics. You got to say, hey, you've been very up in the air on your position on the border or on transgender operations for illegal migrants. Can you set the record straight here? Are you for them or are you against them? Like, are you good? Are you in for fracking? Like, you can ask all the fluff questions you want, but at some point, if you want to be called a great interviewer, you kind of got to ask a couple of the tough questions if they're out there. There's nothing to ask Paul McCartney. You want to ask him, hey, did you ever make up with Yoko Ono? At this point, it's all fluff. But if you're going to interview people that are running for president of the United States or any position, and they have some questionable things running around, you kind of have an obligation to your audience and the people out there to ask the tough question. That's my opinion.
You want to know something, Tom? I got to put you on the spot. You're right. But we had a guest one time, and you were told what to ask them and what not to ask them.
Yes, that was
And
the week before.
matter of fact, I think there was more than one. But yes, you're in a different position than Howard Stern.
Yes,
But when somebody says, you can't ask them about this, you can only ask them about this.
right,
You can't go off that track. It's not going to happen.
right.
Which makes you wonder, like, was there somebody there that was going to hang the phone up if you asked the wrong question?
Well, and I understand it, but it's a big difference between Howard Stern and Hard Rocket Sports. And she opened the door by talking about it, and we jumped right through it. So we didn't shy once she basically opened the door to it. We jumped right through it, and
you had to. She brought it up. You had to.
Exactly. So
when we interviewed Geezer Butler, we were only able to talk about certain things. If you remember, it was mostly about the base and
yes.
So, but I mean, sometimes they give you a criteria, and I guess they're like, if you want this person again somewhere down the line, you're going to do what we tell you to do, and that's that. There's no switching it around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. And Frank, I got your point. I know that that's a big DP. Oh, I know. I've been talking. I saw a couple of interviews the other day, and people were like, I'm not a big fan of his, but I was I think it was Glenn Beck. And Beck said, well, I never thought he was a great interviewer, and then I'm in the middle of talking to him, and I'm telling him things that I wouldn't tell anybody. So I get it. Maybe that's the best part of what he does now, but that's it. But that's all he's got.
When he used to do interviews, he was always going. He was going with the stupid stuff.
Yes.
And like, somebody that wants to do a serious interview should not be going on Howard Stern because it's only a matter of time before he asks something stupid.
Correct.
Now, that's what he did years ago. I don't know if he still does that, but you want to know something? If he was interviewing me, I wouldn't want to be in that position where I may get stuck hitting up a question that, like I can't answer this. I'm going to have more problems if I answer this than if I don't answer it. Like
and he seems to still gets all the big interviews. So I would tell you, but
seriously, what does he interview?
No, he's if you go back and look, and again, I don't watch them, but he's had everybody on. I mean, Taylor Swift. He's had all of those. Lady Gaga. He's Billy Joel. He interviews everybody. Winds up there. I get sent feeds. Reels for all his interviews. He still gets plenty of people showing up on the show. Just the backbone of the show was funny. It was the stuff that the skits and all the.
You don't have the wackos on anymore.
I think he still does, but Gary the retard became Gary the conqueror. Wendy the retard became Wendy the slow adult because he didn't. Because he didn't want to offend people and use retard anymore. That's the problem was that's when he started to worry about saying those kind of things. After, dude, there's a Channel 9 show where he and Sherman Hemsley, George Jefferson, did the most racist skit you ever saw. Howard's in blackface. He's pretending to be Ted Danson. When Ted Danson had that whole thing about saying the N-word when he was married to Whoopi. And it's a whole, and it's actually it's one of those things where you cringe when you're listening to it. It's terrible. It's completely racist. And then to think, 30 years later, the guy won't say retard. It's just,
listen, everybody changes, and I guess if you want to continue to be making millions of dollars a year, you got to give a few concessions. Everything has changed over the years. We don't necessarily have to like it because you just don't watch it anymore. That's all.
I don't. I listen when I'm here working on the show or doing some stuff for work or just paying bills. I usually put on YouTube. If I don't have the TV on, I have YouTube on, and I'm finding some old show stuff that, Frankie, you can evolve and get past it. But when you become the person you told us not to be, that's the problem. When you can go, hey, I can't bring on the wackos anymore and call them retards anymore. I'm going to move on from that. But when you turn around and tell people, if you don't get the vaccine, you should not be allowed in the hospital. You should have to stay home and die. That is the anti-Howard Stern that I never thought I'd hear before in my entire life. And that is an absolute quote.
Not for nothing. I hear your point, Tom, and I understand your point. All right. When the pandemic was happening, I mean, I wish that I didn't have to get the vaccine. I had to get it for work.
Me too.
There was nothing that I could do about it. If I wanted to work, which I had to work, I had to get the vaccine.
Me too.
You're talking about a once in a lifetime event when nobody knew what was going on. And some people believe in the vaccine. Some people are still out there getting it.
Yep.
I know I ain't. I never got it again. And
I had to get 2 rounds. I needed 2
you got to
rounds.
do 2 rounds.
Yeah, to work in New York City, you had to have proof of 2 rounds. I had to get the vaccine and then the booster. I didn't do anything else after that, and I wouldn't do it.
What sucks is like my wife ended up getting the booster, and they told her she had to get the booster. She got the booster,
Yeah,
and like a week later, they said, "No, you don't got to get the booster no more."
Yeah, well,
because I was this close, I was going to get the booster also, not because I wanted the booster, but because I was going to get it because she got it. And I was like, you know what? I don't want you to be alone. And I was just about to say it, and then they said, "No, you don't have to get the booster." And I was like, "Woo-hoo."
The only reason I agreed to do it at the beginning, beside the work, and I wasn't going to do for work. I told basically, I'll go until they tell me I can't work anymore. Was because my wife had to do it. She was so upset to have to do it. I went and said, "If you're going to do it, I'll do it with you." And I went and did it. I did it with my wife because that's what a good husband does. And but
just like I was going to do.
Yeah.
You know, we know somebody, and I don't want to mention their name on the air because they've never been on the show.
Okay.
You know who it is. I could even tell you off to the side.
Okay.
They got the second round of the shots or whatever the fuck it was, and they lost their hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and has not grown back. They have no hair on their body. No
Really?
eyebrows, no chest hair. No.
I'm actually glad to hear that. Listen, dude, I got an uncle who got
so on some levels, yeah. I got
an uncle who did 6 rounds of boosters.
Oh my fucking God.
He did. He said if they keep coming out, I'll keep getting them. Now, my dad
it makes him feel safer than
what my dad did 2 or 3. I think he did 3, and he blames his he's had a problem with his voice box where if he doesn't talk during the day, he has a hard time with his voice. Like it's almost like working out a muscle. Like you don't work it out enough. You can't. So when he wakes up in the morning, it takes a while, and the doctors blame that on the COVID shot.
Really?
Yeah, they say it's probably a good chance that that's where it came from. That's one of the side effects that in older people it affects the voice box. So,
amazing.
Yeah. So let's move on. We
like that symptom.
Yeah. Well, she yells at him all the time. That's a whole different story. Let's move on. I have one thing. I want to finish up on what I don't want to call it politics. It's great to see Kiss, Sylvester Stallone, George Strait, Kennedy Center honors. I think I have never watched the Kennedy Center honors ever. Never. I will watch this December. One, I want to see if Kiss actually does something. Supposedly, Trump said they're going to do something special. Now, I don't know if that means they're going to perform. I don't know what that means. They only announced the 4 original members, so I am anxious to see what that means.
I'm kind of hoping that for his sake, with everything that's going on in the world, that whatever it is that he says is actually going to happen, and he didn't just open up his mouth and insert foot.
No, I saw the Kiss guys came out and said they were thrilled to get the honor. They'll be there. They didn't say what they were going to do. I don't know if it's a surprise, but I think at the end of the day, I think it's fantastic that we're getting non-woke shit back, and I'm looking forward to watching that. So good for Kiss. I'm curious to see what they do, and I think it would be, they screwed up the whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by not playing. Okay, all that bullshit. Kiss should have played. And they should have found a way to get the 4 original members to play one song together somehow, some way. This is the chance to fix that. So I'm hoping they're all smart enough to figure it out and play one song together. They can bring the other guys if they want, but the other 2 guys are not being inducted as far as I know. It's just the original 4. So let's see if they get
not for none, but Kiss is another band that had several different lineups.
Well, they've had 3 drummers. They've had
Vinnie Vincent, they had Bruce Kulick.
Yeah.
What was it? Mark St. John was one
Mark
of the
St. John never played he was on an album, I believe, but never played a show. But yeah, Ace, Kulick, Vinnie Vincent, Mark St. John. There's been at least 4. I think there's one more guitar. I think there's another guitar player in this.
Wasn't there another Kulik that played with them too?
Yeah, I think Bob Kulik.
And didn't one of them just die?
Yes, I think he just died.
Bob Kulik died, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
That's the one that actually played
Yeah.
in Kiss, but his brother was a student musician. Or
And then who's the guitar player there now? It's not Bruce. Is it Bruce Kulick?
Tommy something.
Tommy Thayer. So I mean, they've had 6 or 7 guitar players. So again, understood. Kiss has a lot of warts, but right the wrong and just play one song with or without the makeup. You don't even have to. They can get away with, not even playing with the makeup on. Just go out there and play 2 or 3 songs as Kiss for the Rock and Roll, the Kennedy Center Honors, and I think that's enough. But we'll see what happens. Hey, let's talk a little Jets and Giants. They had some practices this week, but I read an article today in the Post, Jeff. I don't know if you saw anything online about it, but there's an undercurrent of Jet fans supposedly. This was written by Brian Costello, who's a really good writer for the Post, and he's not one of those guys who stirs up shit. But there seems to be a bunch of Jet fans who are calling for Braden Allen to be the starting running back and get the bulk of the carries, and there's an undercurrent of fan push to get them to release or sideline Breece Hall. Are you surprised by that?
No, I'm not surprised by that because Jet fans, for the most part, some of them could be retarded, and they always think they got something better. If Allen was that much better than Breece Hall, and Breece Hall's now on his second coach.
Yeah.
Don't you think that the change would have been made? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they'd be talking about it. I think that if he was that much better, the change would have already have happened.
Yeah, I agree. I got to be honest with you. I'm a big fan, and I think if anything, in today's day and age of football, the way people wear out, the way running backs wear out very quickly. And maybe it happened years ago. We just didn't pay attention to it enough. I love what I like Tyrone Tracy Gumati. I'm sorry, I do. But I think if you kind of emulate what the Detroit Lions are doing with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, I think that's the new football where you have 2 guys. And if one goes down, like last year, Montgomery went down and Jahmyr Gibbs got the bulk of the carries, he's a little fresher when he's got to do it. I think, first off, Breece Hall has got like 2,900 yards in the last 2 years. I
don't think he's had that many.
All-purpose yards. Oh, okay. He's like 7th in the league, like behind like all the guys that you want to mention, Barkley, Gibbs, James Cook. While he has not rushed for 1,000 yards, and I know that there's a fumbling issues last year, this and that, the guy's a heck of a back. I personally would not get rid of him, and I would just whoever's playing better gets the gig, and the other guy backs him up. And if one guy goes down, you got another guy. But to want to run the guy out of town, I think is a little strange.
I would keep him and sign him to an extension. Mm-hmm. Before I ever did anything like send him out west.
Yeah, well, he's a free agent after the season, so
yeah, I would sign him. I would sign him to a multi-year deal, so that he never goes out west to play.
We'll see how it plays out. But let's talk a little about now. I know you didn't watch. I watched the entire Giant game, and I watched I watched the first quarter and change of the Jet game. Here's my analysis of the Jets. I'll go with them first. If they play that way, and what I mean by that is offensively, they did not force Justin Fields to throw the ball down the field. I think he completed whatever pass he completed to running backs and tight ends. He ran a few and wanted to run it for a touchdown. They ran the ball well with Allen. I think Hall got a couple carries in there. If you have that formula, that chemistry, that team will be okay. If they try to do other stuff, I don't think it. Defense was good.
What's okay? 7 and 10.
I don't know. I think better than that. What I did love about the Jets Saturday, Sauce Gardner in a meaningless game after getting his big contract played the best football I've seen him in probably 2 years. I mean, he was tackling, he was covering. Now, again, it was only 2 series, but he looked like the player who was there his rookie year, and he looked like the guy who got a big contract. You know, it wasn't what I saw last year, a guy who didn't want to make a tackle, the guy who barely showed up. I was impressed with Sauce Gardner. I was impressed with the defense. I will tell you, they have the chance. Now, again, I think their offensive line's got a lot of rookies on it. They got a bit abused by the Giants this week.
One rookie and 2 other guys are there. I think it's their 2nd or 3rd year.
Yeah, they're still very young. So I think they're going to have some problems on the O-line. And I think the Giants kind of manhandled them a little bit with their starting offensive line. But I still think they're good enough to be on the – I think they could be on the prowl for a wild card spot. They're not winning the division. They're not going to be the first wild card. But I think they can hang in there if they play the way they played. Now, again, it's a lot of ifs because I don't know what they're going to do in the regular season with Justin Fields, Jeff. But if they play that way, I could see them being in the mix in January for a playoff spot.
I don't know, Tom. I've heard this before from you in a
Of
couple
course.
and I'm going to go with they're not even coming close to the playoffs this year unless they buy tickets. And, I just don't see it. I don't think they're ready. Maybe next year. Who knows?
Yeah, Gumati, I agree with you. That's why I say if they keep him to throwing the ball to the backs, to the tight ends, to throw the ball when he has to deep to Wilson, and they run the ball, I think they can be successful. If they try to open this offense up, they're never going to be a good team.
If they do that,
Yep.
then you're pigeonholing them into one style of play. And it's just they're going to be so easy to figure out.
No.
Stack the box. He can't throw the ball.
No, see, I disagree.
Cover the receivers,
No,
and
see, I think it's like anything else. You're setting things up. So you're bringing the defense up, and then you can let one rip to a Garrett Wilson. Now, again, is their offensive line going to be good enough? I don't know. I watched them.
But there's so many variables. I mean, come on, anybody could come up with that. Run, pass. And it's not going to happen this way. It's the Jets, bro.
Well,
it's the Jets. You just
again,
know.
I'm just telling you what I saw. I'm not telling you how it's going to be
A
successful.
young guy with so much upside. Remember one thing, Justin Fields. We're talking about Justin Fields. This is the guy that a couple years ago was getting run out of Chicago.
Yes.
Until, like, oh no, he's turning the corner this year. This is the year he's turning the corner. If they trade him, they're going to get a 1st-round pick for him. He's so valuable. He's this, he's that. And then he went to Pittsburgh, and they basically let him walk out the door.
No, again, I agree with you. I don't think he's going to.
Russell Wilson, say what you want about Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is in his mid-30s. There's no way that anybody wants to build a team around him. Anybody that has him at this point in time knows that they're not building a team around him, but he has experience. Justin Fields, there's talk of people building a team around him. And I don't know, man. I'm not.
I agree with you. I'm with you. I don't think you're building long term with Justin Fields. I'm only saying is if you want to be successful this year, keep doing what you're doing. You're going to have to find a way to run the football, which is a lot easier for the offensive line, the young offensive line. Throw the ball when you need to, and play good defense. Again, do I think they win a division? No. Do I think they're an easy wild card? No. Do I think they could be in the mix for one later on if the defense goes back to what they were 2 years ago? Yeah, I do. I don't think this is not going to. I don't think this is going to be, Tim Boyle and Mike White and Zach Wilson. I think it has a chance to be at least a decent offense. I'm not a Justin Fields fan. I think he's, a bum, to be honest with you. But if you play the way they did on Saturday, I think it's a fighting chance. I want to see what this week looks like. Again, the Giant practices, he wasn't great, and I thought the Giants defensive line had the best of their offensive line. So let's see what happens in a full game, and we'll see. As far as the Giants go, there was some good. I thought the offensive line definitely was better. I thought the first couple series with the Giant O-line was good. I love the way that I like the way I saw Dart play. I think he's got a little bit of fearlessness in him. He threw a beautiful touchdown pass, really nice. And we'll see where it goes. And Russell Wilson's Russell Wilson. I mean, he'll win you some games, he'll lose you some games. And again,
Yeah,
we'll
but
see.
there's more of a chance out of every quarterback that's playing in New York right now.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson has experience. He has playoff experience.
Yeah.
He's been there before. He's led teams to winning records for how many years in a row. He has the experience, which is more than what any other quarterback in the NFL that plays for the New York Jets or Giants has right now.
Yeah.
So he has that much. There we go. I was waiting for that, Frank. There you go.
I didn't say he was the best. I said I liked the way the kid played. He showed some balls. He made some nice moves. I thought he did well in the pocket. I want to see it now this week against the Jets. Hopefully he gets to play against the Jets' first team defense. I really like to see what this kid can do. And I'm excited for the future of New York football. I would say this: the Giants' second team defense, they all should have got thrown out of a bus. And Deonte Banks is a bust. That guy is just a horrendous football player.
Who is that?
Deonte Banks is the Giants. 3 years ago was their number one pick. He's a corner out of Maryland. Had some promise his rookie year and just gone downhill ever since. Never likes to tackle. Never, just one of those guys who should be much better. Should be the number one corner on that team at this point, and he's not even close. In fact, he's fighting for a job at this point with I think Flat is Cordell Flat is an undrafted free agent, but he's a high draft pick at the very least. So, but it was a good showing for the Giants. And we'll see what happens this Saturday. Giants Jets used to be the Snoopy Bowl. I kind of missed the days when it was the last real preseason game. It was always week 3. It was always kind of like they played a little bit more than a half. It was kind of real football for a change. And then they've kind of done away with that. And now it's the second game of 3, and I'm sure we won't see more than a quarter of the starters.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, I guess you'll find out what happens, but this is the way they want the NFL, and I don't think that it's going to be any better anytime soon.
No, it's going to get worse because when they go to 18 games, they're only going to play 2 preseason games. I got to give Joe Burrow a big pat on the back. I like Joe Burrow. I think he's a top 5 quarterback now. And he's gone there and said, I want to play football. Like, I got to go out there and play. Otherwise, I'm going to suck in September. And I agree with it. We all grew up watching our teams, game 1, they played maybe, a series or 2. Then the second week, they played the quarter. The third week, they played the half. And then the last game, they may play 1 series, maybe, and then they're done. That's how and that was after playing 2-a-day practices. To me, the game of football in September is bullshit because these guys don't play. So I got to give Joe Burrow a pat on the back for stepping up and saying, shit, I got to play. I want to play football. I got to be better.
Yeah, I hear you.
I would almost rather, and I don't want it, don't get me wrong, but I would almost rather them say, hey, we're putting red jerseys on the quarterbacks for the preseason games. You can't tackle the quarterbacks. If you tag them, it's a sack. But we're going to protect the quarterbacks because they mean so much. But we want the quarterbacks to play. I would almost rather that, and I don't want that, but I would rather that than the quarterbacks to not play football.
The preseason is pretty much a joke as it is now at this point anyway.
Yeah.
And the quarterbacks, this is why I don't like it. Anything could happen at any given time. Somebody could roll the wrong way and bump into this guy's ankle, fuck him up. And there's guys that are just having way too many non-contact injuries. I never remember this many football, but not this year maybe so much, but in the past couple years.
Yeah.
The non-contact injury taking out as many people as it has in the last 4, 5, 6 years. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. No, I agree. Listen, I agree, but
he's running. I mean, we all played football, and I know I'm not comparing us playing a noodle up to professional football players, but here we were. We didn't warm up. We didn't do exercises. We just went out there every Saturday morning, Sunday morning, from whatever condition we were in the night before, and we played. And nobody got hurt. Nobody got fucked up. We, fell, we ran, we jumped, we did a whole bunch of different things. Everybody was on the turf rolling around at one time or another.
Yep.
Thank God nobody got seriously hurt. Maybe sprained ankle or somebody jammed their thumb or something like, yeah, that sucks. I can't wipe my ass for a couple of days. But you know what I mean? Like these guys are hardcore athletes, and hey, he was standing there in the huddle. Next thing you know, he collapsed. He broke his MCL, his ankle bone, or stretched his femur. A whole bunch of different things happened.
I agree with you. I think these guys got to play. I think the quality of football in September. They've just turned September into training camp. That's all they've done. September becomes training camp. And again, I'll give you a knock on the Jets is too many penalties, too many dumb offsides penalties, holding penalties, just being unprepared penalties. That's the one knock I have on the Jets from that game. The Giants, terrible tackling. So
that's a big knock.
Yeah, and the knock I have on the Giants is that their whole second team couldn't tackle. They missed more tackles than I think I've ever seen in my life in a span of a quarter, and that all goes back to the lack of practice, the lack of preparation, and teams don't start to practice or start to hit properly till the end of September because they're just getting their feel for it because they don't hit in practice. And while I get that they're trying to protect the players and not get injuries, it's part of the game. And if you're not going to go out there and bang heads and get your body used to that, you're not going to do it in September, and be at your best. So again, I agree. I think everybody's going to have to go out there and play. If you want to put some, sissy rules on it, say don't hit the quarterback, whatever, blow play, have the referees blow plays dead when the guys are kind of in the grasp and not let guys, pile on top of each other. I get it. You can manage the game a little bit, make it a glorified scrimmage. But the fact
even if you do that, right, then come September and the real games start. And then you can't do an in the grasp call or whatever. Okay. First time a guy goes down, no matter when he goes down, you got a 300-pound guy on your back. You got to be thinking that this might not end very well, but now, anything could happen, man, that these guys could go out at any given time.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. I think at some point we're going to have to ban Frankie from the show because I can't take.
Well, I think he's a valid.
First off, Danny Dimes is going to have a great season in Indianapolis. Watch. I'm telling you, watch. Danny Dimes has a great season in Indianapolis. Having said that, obviously Eli gets the nod, although I love Sims and think Sims is one of the most underrated quarterbacks. He should have got.
I heard that Danny Dimes has already filled out applications to work in the concession stand.
Is that what you heard?
That's what I hear.
That's what you hear.
That's what I hear. People are telling me
your squad would be thrilled to have a Danny Dimes on it instead of Justin Fields.
Well, yeah, because then you would send him out to the Wolves during the preseason, let him get beat up, and then Justin Fields have on him.
Yeah, please.
Like buying a secondhand tire.
Wait till Frankie doesn't realize, but I think this is the Bo Nix farewell tour. He's about to collect Social Security next year, so I think this might be his last season. He's getting too old.
Ooh, I heard he could have gray shirt him. I don't know.
Yeah, they made gray shirt him.
Is he like 35?
Something like that. Yeah, I think he's already applied for retirement pay.
His AARP card.
Yeah, he's got his AARP card going, and he's filled out his backup is great. Yeah, Zach. Well, yeah, isn't it Zach Wilson their backup?
Oh my God.
Yes, yeah, they got Zach Wilson. Another tremendous, another great job by Sean Payton. Yeah,
that alone would.
I only pray that Bo Nix steps on a nail and misses like the first 5 games, so I can watch Zach Wilson run around in a Bronco uniform.
My God, you may never see him in a Bronco uniform.
No, I think he's right. I think yes, because Mike White is in Buffalo now. Yeah, so he's right. Zach Wilson went to Miami.
Man, and like Frank Jeffries got to be shitting his pants with that.
Oh, please. With Tua's health history, forget it. Hard Rock and Sports at Jeff and I'm Tom. We're wrapping up the show in a few minutes. I got one last topic on my end, Jeff, before we get to Stintum. Oh, Jared Stintum. Frank, I think you should go play backup quarterback for your squad. Oh, my God. Anyway, there was a lot of first off, they finally had a Yankee Old Timers Day game. They've been doing the Old Timers Day thing, but they basically just bring the players out and they would answer questions from the crowd or from the announcers, which to me was ridiculous. So they finally went back and they brought back the game where the players would go out there and they would have a 3-inning baseball game, which growing up I always thought was the greatest thing. I watched Mickey Mantle hit a homer.
Of course.
So again, and obviously the quality of player has decreased. Obviously, you're not talking about guys on the Mount Rushmore of baseball. Joe DiMaggio's not popping out of the dugout. Whitey Ford's not throwing pitches, but there were some big names there. Mariano Rivera's there. You got Roger Clemens was there. You got some big Yankee names for it. The one guy who wasn't there was Jeter, and supposedly Jeter had another an obligation. Kid's birthday party, couldn't make it, which to me is bullshit. I'm sorry. Well in advance, you could have had that party any Saturday.
Maybe he was fucking in the desert doing peyote or something. Who knows?
Anything's possible. But whether you agree or disagree whether he should be there or not, here's my problem. All these people were yelling and screaming. I turned on the game, Jeff. If there were 6 people in the stands, it's
sad.
It was sad. So for me, if people aren't even going to go, and there were probably a ton of people there sitting across the street at the bar or inside one of the restaurants or bars in the stadium. But if you're going to tell the Yankees, we want you to trot out all the great Yankees, even some of the not so great Yankees, and make this day, then do yourselves a favor and go sit in the stands, because the regular game had 40,000 people. But there wasn't 10,000 people sitting in the stands. And I think, to me, that's an embarrassment if you're a Yankee fan. If you're a Yankee fan and if you're going to the game and you can't drag yourself into the seats to watch your heroes, watch the great Yankees, whether you think Greg Nels is a great Yankee, Greg Nels hasn't been there 14 years. You go see the guy, go clap for the guy, go be there for Bernie Williams and Rivera and the guys who trotted out there. But then don't get on Derek Jeter if he don't show up, because obviously it meant nothing to Yankee fans that the game was going on if you don't sit in your seat and watch the game. I don't know how you feel, but.
Well, listen, Craig Nettles is 80 years old, okay?
Yes.
You need to be out there when you go to play. Derek Jeter is what, if he's even in his 50s?
I think he's 40-something. If you
okay, he still has plenty of time. So he didn't show up to Old Timers Day.
Right.
All right. So what? No big deal. Maybe next year. Somebody like Craig Nettles, they put him out in the sun. You could have watched that guy's ears turn black and fall off his head.
Jeter supposedly said that he didn't really want to go because he didn't want to swing the bat. He didn't want the fans to see him swinging a bat anymore because, he wanted them basically, I want to go out the way they saw me when I played, which I understand. Listen, I never saw DiMaggio playing in an Old Timers Day game. He would show up, put the uniform on, he might have a catch, and then he was sitting in the dugout smoking cigarettes and hanging out and probably telling Marilyn Monroe stories.
Oh, that was real, that Mariano Rivera?
Yeah. He tore his Achilles.
Yeah, well, how?
I guess I think it was he got a hit and it was running. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So again, I don't care if people don't care about the Old Timers Day game. I get it. It is what it is. To me, it's a fun experience. You're getting to see. I taped. I DVR'd it. I watched it. I got to see some of the guys that I grew up. Willie Randolph and Nettles and Piniella. They're old and they're not playing in the game. Well, Willie played. I got to see Gator, 70-something years old, throwing strikes. To me, that's fun. Ron Guidry.
Oh, he was out there playing?
Yeah, Guidry was still pitching.
Wow.
Yeah, he's not throwing 85 miles an hour. Not throwing. But to me, I got to see Gator on the mound, white hair, throwing strikes. I mean, whatever. It's just fun. It's nostalgic. But don't get on Derek Jeter if you guys can't fill the stands. If people can't get out there and make this an event like it used to be, then I could care less if Derek Jeter showed up. And to me, at this point, I don't even know if I'd do it anymore if I were the Yankees. I really don't. I think the players enjoyed it more. Yeah,
I think that they should all have I think they should all fucking have it, man.
I agree. I think it's a to me, I don't know why a team, like I can understand if you tell me the Arizona Diamondbacks don't do it or the Miami Marlins don't do it. They might not have enough history. But if you're the Atlanta Braves, if you're the Phillies, if you're the Indians,
the Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not?
The Yankees. Even the Mets to an extent.
The Mets do it now. They did it the last couple of years. Did a nice job.
But yeah, you're right. Like, maybe you could get the Blue Jays to, they had some success. You can have the Blue Jays do
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
old timers day, but some of those teams you don't need to have an old timers day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think again, I think every team has a history and it should be celebrated. And I think the Mets started doing it, and I think they did a nice job. Go out there and you play a little baseball. You watch some of your heroes out there. The fans get to see them. I think it's even big for the players of today. Just watching the Yankees of today in the dugout, getting to talk to these guys and hang out with them. I think it's huge. I think it's
would they just have like a team game, like the Yankees? They just like chose up sides and went out and played, or
pretty much they do. They do it to Clippers against the Bombers, and it's just random. I guess you get 30 guys there, half of them can play, and then you mix up enough where Mickey Rivers is still running around in left field. He's 102 years old. He's still running around out there.
I mean, didn't they used to play like some team, like some older guys from another team?
There was a bunch of years. Yeah, they would like do all-star teams from other things. Like up. And then sometime in the 90s, I believe, they just started doing it Yankees. It would be it's always this way: Clippers against the Bombers, and they usually honor, like this year they honored the 2000 Yankees. So it was a whole. And meanwhile, Derek Jeter was the MVP of the World Series when they beat the Mets. No offense, Frankie.
You know what they should do? They should make every team get together a squad of 9 every year. Get your 9 old timers. And on Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day, we're going to have an old timers game, and switch it up amongst the so you get to see everybody. So like everybody goes to a different walk. You know what I mean? Like the Yankees might have played the say Red Sox this time around. Maybe next time the Yankees are a road team for 4th of July, and they got to go up to Toronto or something, like wherever the Yankees are actually playing their game. You know what I mean?
I'll give you one. They do the Field of Dreams game every year now. In the summer, they go up to field where they do the Field of Dreams game. So that game's on a Sunday night. So Saturday, have 2 old-timer teams come up and play a game.
Yeah.
And do one of those where you kind of, even if it's not the greatest players, they're a little too old, but you bring them out there, and to me, that's a draw. If I'm a Yankee fan and I know that my my Yankee old timers are going to play the Met old timers at the Field of Dreams. That's a nice night out. And the next night, they have the Field of Dreams game. Maybe the 2 regular teams play. I don't know. I think anytime you can bring nostalgia, especially in baseball, you can't do that with a lot of other sports, but you can in baseball. Baseball is built on the past. You still celebrate, Babe Ruths of the world and the Ty Cobbs of the world. You can do that for baseball. You can't do it in football. You can't do it in most other sports. Most other sports don't sell. Football doesn't believe that there was any football before the Super Bowl before the Super Bowl era. You don't hear much about, the guys who played back in the 40s and 50s, the Otto Grahams and the Sammy Bores and those guys. They don't show any of those games and those clips anymore. But baseball, we live for nostalgia. So to me, play the Field of Dreams game. So if it's going to be the Yankees and the Indians or the Mets and the Phillies, they play Sunday. On Saturday, you get 2 old timers games. You get all the old timers from those teams. They show up on Saturday. They play a 3-inning exhibition game. The fans are out there. They sign some autographs, and the players get to feel the love again. I think it's tremendous. So Frankie, send that to the league office. Tell them I said so. Anyway, when Jeff comes back, we'll wrap the show up. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Looking forward to this weekend. And Frankie, Danny Dimes, big year this year. Danny Dimes has a big year. Gets a big contract from somebody after this year. Watch. You're going to say, Tom, I apologize for all the Danny Dimes ripping. That's all. And next week, I'm wearing my Danny Dimes Giants jersey. That's all I'm telling you. So let's get Jeff back on, and then we'll say goodnight, and we'll come back next Thursday night, do it all over again. Couple more Sundays, couple more weeks of summer. I know summer doesn't really end until the middle of September, but it kind of comes crashing down on Labor Day weekend, which is right around the corner. So good show. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I really do hang in. Again, one more time, thank you to Gerald Brown and everybody over at Mad Dog Sports for putting me on for 15 minutes. I got something big that's kind of lurking. I'm hoping that maybe it comes through. An opportunity in this kind of field to do a little something every week for a fairly big podcast. Can't really tell anybody anything yet, so keep that in mind. But thanks to Gerald Brown and everybody at Mad Dog Radio tonight for letting me on last week. Again, big thank you. If anybody wants to hear it, I got a copy of the interview. It's 15 minutes and a lot of fun. In the meantime, that's a wrap for this week. We got the Giants and Jets this weekend. We'll be watching. It's probably the last meaningful football that you'll see the following week when they play. Nobody's playing anybody. And then we're 3 weeks out from the regular season. So we got Frankie Catalano. Don't forget, the 28th, we got our big NFL draft, fantasy draft. Jeff will be doing it live on the air. It's at 8:30, so the last half hour of the show will be the fantasy draft.
Well, I would love for Frank Catalano to join us live. So when he makes certain picks, that we could just make fun of him right to his
Frank,
face.
If he's got the ability to do that would be great.
He's got the ability, but he's also running.
Oh, he is, and he did finish toward the bottom of the league last year, Jeff.
I know. Thank you, Frank. You got me many a victory.
So we got our fantasy draft coming up in the near future, and again, guys, we're looking for 2 more old timers to join our Madden Football League. Frank, Jeffrey, Iggy Mo, Jeff, and myself. We're going to play 1 game a week against each other.
We only need 2 more?
We only need 2 more players. We want to get 6.
We need 5?
We need 6. We have 4 now.
Oh, okay. I thought you mentioned 3. I'm going to be like, what the fuck?
No. We got 4 guys, so we're going to play it, but we'd like to get yes, that was Frank. That's the past. That's
Frank, the year before means nothing. Last year is still current.
Correct. That we deal with nothing.
And if you came in last 3 years ago, that year is still current too. Any year you had any kind of a success doesn't count.
Correct. Yeah, that's how we roll here.
that's how we gauge shit around here.
That's how we gauge shit. We only bring up the losing. It's more fun that way.
Yeah.
So, but if you know anybody who's 40s, 50s,
Frank, you got PS5, man?
Oh, Frankie said he don't video game. We asked him. He was the first guy I asked, and then Jeffrey asked him. But yeah, we're looking for 2 more geezers for our league. So if you play PlayStation or Xbox, that's not true. I came in top 5 last year. I won 8 straight to close the season out. So I came in number 5 last year, and had it not been for the end of the season, I started out 0-4, and I won my last 8 games on a run. So that's not true.
Me and Tommy, when we were on the same team together, we had success every year.
Yes, not a lot of it, but we had some success.
No, we made one year. I think we made the playoffs, and we were hanging tight.
Yes, we had a good run, but we thought best to split it up and have some more fun. And Jeff, again, to his credit, set first year on his own, got second place, and just barely got beat out by that.
I can't believe that that 3 teams were like absorbed into the league and spit out, man.
Listen, again, remember, guys.
No problem, man. I showed me one thing in this league. You keep your eyes looking forward. Don't say nothing to the guy next to you, and you can come back again next year and play.
That's it. Remember, league dues is due next Thursday night. If you're in this league, you got to pay your money by next Thursday. Otherwise, you will also be gone. So that's the rule. We think most people have paid at this point. There's a few left, and I'm not worried about the guys who are left. They're regulars, so I'm okay.
Well, listen, my wife, I got to pay my mortgage tomorrow, but my wife gets paid it's the 15th. My wife gets paid next Thursday. Remind me in the morning. I'll have a Zelda money over to you, and I'll be good.
So don't worry about it. No problem. I'm not worried about Catalano. I'm not worried about you. But
I know, but I just want to make sure that it's there because I don't want others, saying, striking me from the record. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to.
You're not going anywhere. Don't worry about it. But yes, and again, if anybody knows any friends who are geezers and they want to join a Madly, it would be let us know. We're looking for two more players. We got 3 weeks to come up with it. We each get to play our team. So I'll be repping the Giants. Jeff will be repping the Jets.
So let me ask you. I don't know what the final decisions are made. Are we going to have to go with 25 or 26?
26.
Oh boy.
Yeah, 26. That was the rule. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that was. Now I don't know. I don't know though, like how when it's set up. If you have 25, if that covers in 26, like I don't know if you have to have 26.
I think you do because
Yeah,
if that was the case,
I just bought 26 last night.
they
Just
would
for the
never
record.
they would never make any money because then I bought one. Why do I got to buy 26 when I got 25? I don't think you can roll the rosters over. And like
Oh, no.
Justin Fields, the only reason I have him on my Jet team now is because I made some like absurd trade to get him.
Yeah,
And my Jets didn't have a draft pick for like 4 years. So
yeah.
I could get him on the team. So I want to make sure that I'm on the up and up when I do this.
Yeah, I bought 20. I bought 26 last night. I didn't want to do it, but I did it to be.
See, what I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to look into a what do you call it? An external hard drive, I think, because I don't want to give up 25.
Yeah.
Because of all the time and effort that I put into it.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to give up 25, but I know if I get 26, I'm going to have to remove 25.
Why? You think you have too much on your thing?
I only have like 90 or 95 gigs worth of space on my game right now.
Yeah, you have other games you can because I have a bunch of games on there and I have 25 and 26 on there now.
But you have what kind of system do you have? Do you have
I have same as you.
So you have like you don't have a disc, or you have a disc one too?
I have a disc one. Yeah, it's disc one. But most of my games, the only game that I have, I think I have NHL 24, NHL 21. That is a disc. Everything else is downloaded from online.
Well, I have Call of Duty, which was downloaded.
Me too.
That came from a disc. A Call of Duty that was downloaded.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey that was downloaded. Which, by the way, I got that email because I get the same EA Sports emails you get.
Oh my god, how
there's going to be way too much going on in that
game.
Oh
my god, yeah. To see the graphics, but that's going to be the next one. Is going to be at the very least, it'll be a hockey one. We do 25 maybe with Frankie because that would be a lot of fun too.
Man, that game is something else.
That'll be after the football season's over.
I used the Rangers alumni team.
Oh really?
Yeah, so I got a Messier and Gretzky on there, and I get up the ice and I start crossing the ice with passes. I try to get like one-timers going, and sometimes when they work, they work. When they don't work, the computer don't want you to do anything. The computer shuts you down immediately. It's insane, and that was with changing settings.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I've just finished. I just won the Stanley Cup with the Rangers with the NHL 21. I'll get that off the thing, and eventually I'll buy the new hockey or 25 hockey. Maybe we'll do
26
something.
26 is going to be coming out.
It's out now. It's real soon. Yeah, you're right. But right now we're getting into the football. So again, look,
I got 25 cheap.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was like $25 because it was a special. Every once in a while, you got to look this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No. I definitely did not pay full price for 25. I paid, I think, 39, if I'm not mistaken.
For the hockey?
No, for the football, for Madden.
Oh, okay, that I got cheap too.
Yeah, for hockey, I haven't upgraded because I know football season's coming. We're gonna do this thing, so I'll do the hockey after football season's over, and I'm not playing Madden again. So once that's over, I'll do either 25 hockey or 26, depending on what happens. But
I'm at the halfway point of hockey, so I don't want to have to shut hockey down. But hockey games for me are about 15, 20 minutes. A football game is almost an hour.
You can also do the quick versions. Yeah, you play just offense but we are about 3 weeks away from our very first inaugural game. If anybody knows two guys, we're looking for two people. Let us know. If not, we'll roll with what we have. Again, fantasy draft comes up on August 28th. Looking forward to that. If you want to do it right here with us, well, I will definitely be doing my draft online like I did last year. 8:30 start. We're doing a half hour later to accommodate some of the guys who are going to be running a little late from home on the way home from work. So anyway, it's been a good show. A lot of fun. We're going to wrap it up from here, and we'll come back again next Thursday night to do it all over again. Jeff, any gigs to promote? I know you got some stuff out there.
The 23rd at the Rock House, and then we're shutting it down for at least October. Chris is getting his back operated on. I don't know exactly what he's getting done. So the month of September will be out, and then I think we have one show in October, and then November is a rough month for me. Also, I got birthdays, anniversaries, a wedding, I believe. So we're shutting that down. Also, and, maybe in December again. So not much left in the year.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'm sure you'll stay busy. A lot of practice with the bands and all the other stuff. And again, now we got football season started, and we got fantasy, and we got Madden League. So you'll, I'm sure your time will be well spent. You'll be busy. So
We will find out.
Yep, and of course, the other thing you'll find out, me and Jeff is here every Thursday night. So we hope you come on back and you hang with us next Thursday night. But in the meantime, I want to thank you all guys for tuning in. Thanks to Frank and Louie, my dad, everybody, Matt, who popped up for a minute. Looking forward to doing this again next week. So for me and Jeff, thank you. I want you guys to have a good rest of your night, a good rest of your week, a good weekend, and a great next week. Come back next Thursday night at 7 when Jeff and I get together and do it all over again. So for Jeff, myself, and everybody here at the Hard Rock and Sports Show, please thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Cafe, I'll talk to you off the air.
Later, man.
Later, man.
Bye.